You know, I've heard over the years about how the rich are the greediest people, and I'm going to turn that around. I'm going to say it's not the rich, it's actually the poor. I know that's fucking mindfuck, right? We were told the whole other direction of things. And here's how I look at it. Yeah, the rich are doing their things, and there's some shenanigans, and they, you know, people say they should pay more in taxes. How about this? How about we require less in taxes? How about we stop subsidizing people to sit around and do nothing? Like 70% of our budget is just giving people free money. So the working class gets screwed on their taxes because the lower class decides not to do anything with their lives. The upper class pays some in taxes, and they employ Lord only knows how many people. So by employing people, you're actually putting more into the income stream, the taxes, the local businesses. What about the poor? Oh, so it must be some rich guy's fault that you decided to go raw dog when you couldn't afford to feed yourself. There was free birth control at Planned Parenthood. You could have spent $2, but God, those nails you had to get done, and the hair, whether it was weave or real hair, the clothes, the makeup, all that shit. Oh, she had to have all that. She couldn't use $2 to go to fucking go over there and get some birth control. No, that's a bridge too far. You know, and then as far as the guy, oh, you had all that money for that flashy car with the rims and stuff and the clothes, and you're buying the booze and this and that, but you couldn't get some Jimmy wraps or an education. Oh, let's go over to that part. You decided to have children into poverty, and I'm not saying children are the dead end, because I've known tons of people that have children who work their way out of poverty. So that's an excuse poor people use. Oh, we're, you know, with these kids. Oh, you know, these people basically decide, oh, I'm gonna go out, not invest anything into myself when I have all the opportunity in the world. So that's somehow the rich person's fault. Like, there's free government money to help you get educated in a trade or something, or there's something where you can pay it back, and like it's while you work, you get trained while you work. You know, whether it's trucking, trades, whatnot. And these are real careers that the world needs. But you're like, nope, not me. Fuck that. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just work at some fast food job and play Xbox. Congratulations, you did that to yourself. But then this comes into the point where eventually you're living on Section 8, and maybe you do the under-the-table work, whether it's drugs or, you know, cutting firewood or landscaping or some shit. And you're like, well, the system, you know, the rich people. What? But literally everybody else is paying taxes so you can actually survive. Like, you have options for training. You still have these same options for training, but you're like, nope, can't do that, you know, because I don't want to. So, wait a minute. This becomes something to where you're literally teaching your kids how to be worthless and victims. Well, they're not victims. They're actually self-inflicted. So self-inflicted, you can't blame it on somebody else when you're doing it to yourself. But we're going to sit there and tell everybody this narrative that it's the rich that did it to you. Are you fucking high? Yes, you are. Because you can get high and you're not drug tested on the system. So if I had to analyze who's truly greedy, let's see. Somebody else is building businesses, factories, all these things, and you're basically smoking weed and getting high. You know, you're basically sitting around on your ass. But we're all bad people for having a problem with this. And then you want me to hate the rich because I work hard. But I can recognize that the rich make access of tax loopholes and whatnot and deductions that employ tons of people. Now, some of these loopholes, I'll say, some of these so-called charities are total bullshit. And that's just the way they launder money. But that doesn't change the fact that you decided to put yourself in this self-inflicted situation. Nobody made you do what you did. And then we're all forced to subsidize you so you don't get angry and riot, or so your children don't starve. You see an obesity epidemic, or even worse, you see people that get food stamps and somehow piss them away, launder them away with some other person in order so they can get extra money and go buy fucking drugs. Yeah. No, if you're in America or one of these prosperous Western countries and you're on the system, no, you are literally a greedy fuck at this point. It's one thing to use it as a safety net, but when you've turned that safety net into a hammock and you're like, oh, I'm stuck in a hole, and the government's allowed you to turn it into a hobbit house. No, the rich people didn't make you do any of that shit. You wanted it. You did it. You did it to yourself. You just want someone to blame that's easy to blame, and that's the rich. There's 1 or 2%, maybe upper 10% of people in the country. That's this small group. And then you have 50% in the country that are subsidized and completely worthless. and then the other 40% on different variations of getting screwed on their taxes because you just don't want to get a job. I say stop feeding you and watch how quickly you improve yourself. You know, hey, well, who's going to give us money for this and that? No, fuck you, man. Watch how quickly the women start doing this move. The first group of people would suffer, right? The women would slam their legs shut. Hey, you want a little of this, honey? You got that thirst? Well, you better have some money. You got a house, you got a good degree, you got something, you know, do you have a trade that's paying for things? You got a career. Watch how quickly when women start slamming their legs shut, men start going, how high do I got to jump to become that man? Because that drive to get laid has never changed. It goes from drive to do what I got to do to get laid straight to laziness for most people. And so when you realize that's all you have to do, stop giving people free money, women slam their legs shut, men start having to jump higher, and then the men will even say to the women, you need to have better standards, and make some laws that protect their assets. You know, that way the guy doesn't get screwed and divorced and lose half of what he worked for. There's no motivation to be anything more than average if you know you're going to get fucked. Make sure she's taken care of and the kids are taken care of. No, wait, for a minute. Fuck her. She make sure the kids are taken care of. That's all that matters. She's supposed to be all strong and empowered and equal. So, you know, make sure the kids are taken care of. But protect his assets and protect her assets. That way, there's an incentive to be a better, stronger person. We could do this right now. But via the voting system, the way things are set up, parasites will continue to vote greedily for their own best interest. You're not going to convince me that 1% of the population is, oh, they're rigging it. Yeah, there is some rigging in the government to some degree. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But you're not going to tell me that when you have like 50, 60% of the population, like even, let's say 70% of the population voting for more socialism, and then wondering why is food going up in price? Why is everything costing more? Da, da, da. You're like, it's you. And they have to inflate the dollar to pay for all this shit. Because there isn't enough taxes being taken from anybody. And you could make an argument for the rich to some degree, but then the rich will say, hey, sayonara, motherfuckers, we're moving to another country where we get treated better. And so, yeah, just stop subsidizing the problem, and we'll stop having this problem. So, I don't know. Like I said, the poor, not the rich, are the greediest people I've ever seen. Because it's self-inflicted poverty. Nobody more made you do that in a Western prosperous country. So anyways, take it easy.